everybody, welcome back to UR Free TV. It is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, and I'm so glad to be back with you here on the channel tonight. We'll do a shorter video catching up on what we expected today, which was that we would get some response from Trump having spoken with Putin, plus all the news. So I'll jump in with my disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is protected by the United States Constitution protecting free speech, as well as the Sullivan Act and reporting. It is not intended to bully or harass anyone, never to incite violence, hatred, or lawlessness of any kind. It doesn't give legal, medical, or financial advice, and there are further disclaimers in the description below. So I'm so glad to be back with you here on the channel. I always start by saying thank you. Thank you so much to Colleen for the donation. Thank you for everybody who is supporting monthly. You make it happen, and we make ways for you to do so below, and I'm so grateful. So let's jump in here with the news. I'll put on the glasses. We have a lot of news happening, as always. We're on this brink here of kind of major, World War III problems and the economy, all of it, the bill. And so let's jump in with some news before I get to Russia. We had Putin, of course, talking with Trump today. And as I said yesterday, there would likely be today some announcement from Trump that he had spoken with Putin and that things are, being stabilized while Merz, Chancellor Merz out of Germany, arrives tomorrow for some stern speaking to, while Pompeo has been over in Odessa. We get Mike Pompeo, massive money out of Qatar for him, doing what is, of course, foreign operative work, going to Odessa. Lindsey Graham still rifling around Europe, and there is massive things going on. So we'll get there, but I want to talk about some other news first. And I want to cover this because it's hugely important here as we wonder if this deep state cabal that is the EU, International, the Pilgrim Society, City of London, all of it, that is trying to ramp up World War III for a perpetual 30-year war to, of course, get all the money and the dead bodies out of it, that if they could do an FF in the U.S. And we have, of course, Xi having his phone call with Trump on Friday. So big stuff here because Katie Hobbs in Arizona today basically vetoed a bill that would stop the further purchase of the CCP buying land around military bases in Arizona, right? This is the cartel captured Arizona. And Katie Hobbs is the stolen election governor of Arizona. And of course, she stole the election from Kari Lake, working so hard over at Voice of America, trying to stop the propaganda and put real news out to the world of what's really going on in the United States. Well, Katie Hobbs has now vetoed the bill that would prevent further sales or claw back the properties of CCP-owned huge amounts of land in Arizona around at least 5 Air Force bases. And, what happened in Russia with this attack on strategic, triad nuclear configurations there in Russia, if they could pull off some sort of FF here in the U.S., it would, of course, to push Trump to declare some war on Russia. And so we're looking at this, and when we look at Katie Hobbs, she was, of course, the Secretary of State who was in charge of the elections in 2020, the big giant steal of the election there. We have Trump coming out to social today, who's still super sequestered. We've never seen Trump so sequestered since he came into office as this week, where he is not doing his usual Oval Office presentations, his executive orders, his what's going on, his interviews, his people there with the press in the Oval Office. He is not showing his face this week, okay? Just Truth Social posts as what came out with his talk from Putin, which I'll get to. And so with Katie Hobbs doing this veto of the bill that the Congress and Senate of Arizona want to go through to stop the CCP owning this land near these Air Force and military bases in Arizona, It's a huge deal, okay? And this is, of course, at the same time as we have the arrest of the two CCP research scientists out of Michigan who have repeatedly, now where it's coming to be known, that they repeatedly brought in this agro biowarfare fungus, right? This Fusarium graminarium that is a massive mycotoxin, and it's already spread through Europe, and we have to wonder if they did it there too. And the arrest of these scientists smuggling in fungal mycotoxins. We also know that the CCP has been gathering, fungus and all kinds of crazy stuff from asteroids that they're harvesting asteroids in outer space. It's all crazy, but this fungus is massive. It causes brain gut biome deterioration, and it can cause like psychosis, all kinds of stuff. And it's been hitting Europe hard. And now they were arrested for smuggling it in to do this in the University of Michigan. And this is, it comes right after this whole discussion of can we, Trump, can we just, get all the CCP visas of students revoked? Okay, just no, just no. We're not in a normal time. We're in a wartime footing. We even have, I think, the Wall Street Journal putting out over the weekend. They said, "Oh, we've gone from a post-war period here in the U.S. to a pre-war period." Okay, they're staging all of this where they are pushing this World War III scenario, and so it is time to act as if this is real because it's real. And with the 25 trillion in intellectual property stolen by the CCP, now the stealing of the Korean election, Lee is in. There's already talks about the closing down of U.S. bases, the taking away of the treaties to do with the U.S. and South Korea, and basically Lee is saying South Korea deserves the opportunity to be more closely aligned with China for our economy and our trade purposes. So stuff is pretty big. So when we have uh, Yongying Zhan and Jun Yun Lu in their 30s, flying in through Detroit, the male, Lu, bringing in this molecular microbe, okay, this fungus, to where they work at University of Michigan at the electron lab dealing with molecular microbes. And it has to do with, of course, amplifying this fungus to destroy crops. It infects wheat, corn, barley, oats, all of it, and it is very destructive. And so, yeah, let's get rid of them. Can we already? So that is, what we're looking at. And so I want to go on from there to another disturbing thing out of the FDA with Makary. And Makary is proving to be just full bore, you know, what is he? Just an operative deep state? Because now we're seeing that Apeel, the toxin, okay, created by Bill Gates and funded by Bill Gates. He acquired the company that creates this substance Apeel that is put on fruits and vegetables to preserve them. Okay, is now being approved for use on organic foods. Now this is horrific and awful. It's been a couple of years since I reported on Apeel, so I don't have it, but it's Apeel, and Apeel. I mean, it just in the name, right? It's like a anti-peel. It's like it goes through the protective coating of the fruits and vegetables, which is their rinds or their peels, and it goes in and it infects what's inside with this toxic element. And people have been talking about you get your organic blueberries and they're like rubber, and you ingest them, and then they exit your body still like looking like blueberries, like they're not digestible. And so this is what's going on with Makary, who also came out and said again, oh yes, we're really excited about this AI integration into the CDC and the FDA. We'll just, things that used to take 3 months take, 3 hours, and we're just thrilled what's going on. And so you have RFK Jr. coming out today and saying, hey, for everybody, he's basically, this was disturbing to me how he put this, but he said, for those people out there who are having anxieties about the approval of the next spike, okay, Moderna uh, uh, shot, okay, anxieties. We're not having anxieties. We're like, no more spike protein shots, okay, no more mRNA shots. And he's saying you're having anxieties about it, and he says don't worry because Moderna has agreed. Okay, this is after the FDA gave the approval for this new next spike shot. Don't worry because they have agreed to a placebo double-blind human study. Well, guess what? The human study is going to be on the people who take that shot. Okay, and he's saying, don't worry, they've agreed to do this study after the FDA already approved it. So what is going on, Bobby? What's going on? This is very disturbing. We have Naomi Wolf coming out with a great open letter to RFK to end all of the mRNA shots on her Substack. It'll be linked below. And, we have the MAHA moms coming out and saying, hey, we're going to go full bore against this if you don't stop it. And so we're wondering what the heck is going on. So we know that we're looking at, you know, major, existential threats right now, with the CCP taking South Korea, and the talk with Trump on Friday is going to be huge with G. And so I'll get to that in a moment, but I want to, I guess, get to Russia right now. And this will be a shorter video today. I'll do a longer one tomorrow, getting into more meat, because I believe a lot will be revealed after, with what's going to happen with Merz, with Chancellor Merz coming to the White House. And so I want to talk about, okay, we get Mike Pompeo going to Odessa, being in Ukraine. All right, now this has come to light that the former CIA director is hanging out, okay, very, John Kerry style, with Iran, hanging out in Odessa. We get Lindsey Graham still at large. We have crickets from John Ratcliffe, from the CIA, from Gabbard, and Trump hugely sequestered. And Trump comes out and he says from his call that basically, I talked with Putin, and there is the situation where he's saying he absolutely has to respond to these attacks, and there won't be peace coming soon because of what Zelensky did in this attack on Russia's nuclear capabilities. And of course, that is because we have Putin maintaining his what he's supposed to do. What has been the treaty is the New START treaty, where he is required to keep all of his nuclear armaments above ground and visible from satellite. And so it's just like, hey, easy pickings for this rogue group that is doing this extra national military machine here. Okay, deep state, Pilgrim Society, all of this. And so with Trump coming out and say this, and he also said, well, and also we're also hearing that that Putin also said he would be willing to be part of the Iran nuclear negotiations. And Trump said, basically inferred that this was a good thing. And the MSM is going crazy about it. Oh my gosh. And so basically what's coming forward is that Trump obviously said to Russia that the America under me, my America, has nothing to do, what I'm controlling, we had nothing to do with this. I still believe that they knew about it. I still believe that there is more behind the scenes to allow some change to happen here, where Russia is going to make a move that will put an end to this war. And it could be, that they take Odessa. It could be that they cut off the Black Sea, and that they take out the headquarters of the USB, and more. Even Zelensky probably is on the table, because we had Putin come out today outside of what is the Trump talk on the phone, and he also had a video conference call where he talked about, he named Ukraine being a terrorist regime. And he said it has turned into a terrorist regime. This happened after the coup that took over Ukraine, naming it fully. And he has said basically it is Ukraine, its allies, and sponsors. Okay, and he is saying there can be no peace, there can be no ceasefire at this point while Zelensky and his current parliament is in power, and without elections, we can't have any movement here. It's going to be just basically that Russia is going to execute what from now has been stayed attacks and war of attrition, probably more into a battle, a battle sphere of actually taking ground. And so this is what's going on. And we could look at their power grid going down in Ukraine to enable Russia to fully come in and take it out. And so we haven't seen Putin this angry since he started the war in Ukraine, since he started his strategic attacks in 2022. And so this is huge. And Trump coming out very clearly saying USA is neutral here. USA is neutral. Putin has made it clear that he has to respond. I have no comment on that. He will be involved in the Iran negotiations. So this is huge. Okay, it's huge because we know also Xi, spent multiple days in Russia back in May when there was the 80th commemoration, or what was that? I think it was 80th of Liberation Day there in Russia, and Xi has been really vying to basically say to Russia, hey, we'll give you this massive LNG pipeline deal. We will back you to keep this war going against Ukraine. So, um, these are the machinations. These are the machinations as we look at what is coming. And with the China talks tomorrow, we have, of course, China's, has control of rare earth minerals. It's not that they have all the minerals, it's that they control the processing and production. And it's not just China, it's actually Xi Jinping's family that owns something like 99% of the processing industry of these rare earths. So this is hugely personal to Xi, and this is massive in what can happen here as this full-on assault on the USA, with Trump trying to stop the world ganging up on the USA to destroy us, and the possible cutting off of the supply lines to do with drugs and the precursors for drugs and all of this, and of course what they have to do with that they have the backdoor kill switch on a lot of our electrical grid, whether it is um, the solar power uh, basically transfer of energy switches, or it is the transformers literally on um, our electrical grid, that they have backdoor kill switches on this. So we're in a pickle here, but we're trusting that Trump is obviously dealing with it. He's sequestered. He is hunkered in here for what's going on. And so we know that Rubio had this call with Lavrov, the foreign minister, and basically, Lavrov, we need assurance that the USA, that Trump wasn't directly involved in this, and I believe that's what Rubio gave him, was the assurance. Uh, where's Ratcliffe? Okay, where's DNI Gabbard? We need to hear more, because Putin is like, Russia's taken all it's willing to take with being squeezed out, sanctioned, what we've gone through for not the last 3 years since the Ukraine thing, but before it. Now the threat of the stealing the 300 billion in assets. We're done. We're done, and we're not going to play around anymore. So we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll see what happens. But as I knew would happen today, would be something from Trump saying, "This is what Putin's saying. This is what I said," and there it is. Okay, and so I will move on from there. From Russia, we have to. There needs to be a grand jury. We need something with the Brennan cabal, the Clapper. They were supposedly stripped of their national security clearance, but what about all the CIA that is the remnants of Clapper and Brennan? All right, in the CIA. Okay, where's Ratcliffe with the firings, with the mass expulsions of these people, because they still have their national security, right? We had the National Security Council gutted, paused. Okay, is it gutted or is it paused? It's paused. And so the rapid removal of security clearances during this, that preceded this attack. And so that's why I think that Trump knew what was coming, and that there already was some discussion here, because I believe that was involved in this national security clearance breakdown, National Security Council pause by DNA Gabbard. And so we're going to see what goes on. Okay, so let's go to MTG here just for a moment. Of course, she's sounding the alarm of what we've all been talking about here for a couple of weeks, which is the AI portion of the Build Back Better, Big Beautiful Bill, that is all about the AI having these corporations, this corptocracy, technocracy, having the ability to take away states' rights. And MTG has come out and said, no, 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 we believe in federalism, the states' rights, that there cannot be a way that you can say that states can't regulate AI or make decisions. She said every innovation, every move forward we've done technologically, you have states that make it welcome for these companies to come there, make the terms agreeable, but it can't be some federal, a big brother, takeover of states. And absolutely, because there's also things in the bill that have to do with awful things like that your genetic, that you can be medically experimented on without your permission, literally, without your permission or consent or knowledge. Okay, there's crazy stuff in this bill to do with the medical industrial complex, of which AI is central. Okay, and everything people like Makary and the CDC are doing, and so what's going on, Bobby? We've got your Operation Stork speed, or whatever it is, where you want to improve the infant formula, and we absolutely want that. We especially need to have the ingredients in there with the bovine formula that actually replaces the female breast milk constituents that have to do with protecting your gut biome. I haven't talked about that for a couple of years either, but we need we need a huge um, answer meetup of RFK Jr. getting with us and talking to us about what the heck's going on, because there's so much happening rapidly to do with the AI situation and this FDA approvals that Americans do not want. And so that's what's going on with MTG, and standing up saying she wouldn't have agreed to it in the House had she known. She apologized. She said, this is 2 pages in the bill. It's super secreted in there, and I didn't get to read it because literally they give you the full bill, the thousands of pages, the night before the vote. and it's almost impossible, even with all your aides, to scan everything. But then she became abreast of it and let us know about it. And so Trump has said to the House again, to Johnson, we need to codify these Doge cuts. Don't put this off. Stop it. Codify the Doge cut so that people can see that we're serious about cutting what Doge has uncovered. And we will see if that happens. We don't know. Um, yeah, so we will see. We will see. And so moving on from there, I think I will talk about Chuck Grassley here as we move towards the end of this video. This is just a shorty for tonight, where Chuck Grassley has come out exposing FBI documents. Again, what I said yesterday to do with the persecution of traditional Catholics. And as I said yesterday, there's this pause on the absolute shutdown and total destruction of Latin Mass in the United States, very much CCP style. CCP controlling their own country doesn't seem to be enough. Now with Pope Leo and the powers that be of the satanic forces are going full bore to shut it down here in the USA. And Grassley has said that the FBI Director Wray, when he was in, that he absolutely lied to Congress about the FBI memo in 2023, saying that it was a rogue analyst at the FBI that put out some random memorandum to the FBI regarding that we should go after traditional Catholics. And this is absolutely untrue. What Chuck Grassley has put out is that they put out this memorandum, and it was very much released hugely across the FBI in multiple field offices to begin with, and then across the entire FBI, where it started with attack on Catholics in Richmond, Virginia, the attempt to portray them as domestic deists, and that this went on to be put out to Louisville, Kentucky, places in Oregon, in Wisconsin, that they were specifically targeting communities, and that they were put out this specific um, uh, slideshow that was distributed far and wide in the FBI, where they were saying it was called Radical Traditional Catholics Core Concepts. And the slideshow was basically saying that traditional Catholicism with family values, belief in Jesus Christ, etc., was akin to radical Islam and should be treated as such as a national security threat. And this memo went to 1,000 FBI agents nationwide, and then they started putting the Catholics on FBI surveillance. And so there's like 13 other documents that Grassley released, and there's been no firings over this. Director Patel or Dan Bongino. Um, we love that you pick up the fungus bioweapon, Chinese nationals. We love all that. But these bigger issues, this weaponization of government, can move faster, and we need this to happen through the FBI. And so that's going on, and we'll tell you more as we learn more. So yeah, just to round it up here at the end, it's just going to be a 30-minute video today. We have Putin coming out very angry in his conference call today. He basically said that the Ukraine and its allies and sponsors are acting as a teist organization since the coup that led to him doing this invasion because of the threat to the people of Ukraine, who were Russian Orthodox and also Russian speakers, and that the coup was basically to oppress these people using the Nazi regime, the Azov Battalion, etc., and the oligarch funding. Sorry, I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes here. And he said that, he's taken all he's willing to take, and that there will be, Russia won't be squeezed out anymore. This needs to end. This facade that we've all been doing, this massive staged response, can't keep going. because now it's getting escalated into a world war where it doesn't need to be, as NATO encroaches further and further closer to, of course, as Merz, Starmer, Macron, von der Leyen et al. Have said, we want this war machine because we need the money. Okay, we want to create a war footing so that we can keep the economy going in that direction. Can they conscript Europeans to go fight this war? Because there's no Ukrainians left to fight it, okay? And of course, Americans will not be dragged in. The only thing they can do is an FF in the United States to try to push Trump to be in some war with Russia, and that's not going to fly. So that is it for today. Just to catch up on what's going on out there. I will end with this. We have Laura Friedman, the Democrat out of California, admitting openly that over 70 Democratic Congress House members are meeting every week with the AGs of the blue states to create the lawfare, just literally openly saying it. Okay, Laura Friedman, to create the lawfare to stop Trump's agenda. Open discussion, okay, of a judicial coup. And this is where this is outside of Congress. They're operating outside their purview of Congress to say, we're going to do this judicial coup. We're going to create lawfare. And what are their jobs? Their jobs are to be in Congress and to enact legislation through Congress. Okay, that's it. They aren't the judiciary, and yet they have aligned. Okay, getting this, um, you know, Article 3 power that isn't their purview, and so it's very, very interesting that they are literally saying we're a shadow government here, trying to enact total stop. It's treason. It's treason of the President of the United States executive power. It is literal unprecedented, okay, to have a representative just come out and blatantly say this. And so, yeah, it is very, very intense what's going on here. And while we look at it, we have to wonder, um, how are we going to stop it? How are we going to stop it? There's massive, massive things afoot, okay, with Ed Martin, the weaponization of government, the DOJ, trying to form ways to block this. But this is huge to have it said, because this is exactly what they do in the UK, exactly what the European tactics are. And so we'll keep fighting. We'll keep fighting. But I wanted to let you know that that is very much happening and still a huge threat. So I'm going to leave it there for today, everybody, a shorter video. If you found something that was helpful or added value in this video and you want to support the channel, there's ways to do so below, and I so appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow after we'll see Merz coming to the White House and what comes out of this, and Trump being hugely sequestered. So this might be the first time since these attacks, deep state, massive, international, uh, I would say international, that it is no state, okay, a mercenary group that is performing these assaults on Russia. Pompeo in Odessa, Graham on the lam, um, uh, crickets from Ratcliffe, that we are seeing this kind of deep state warfare. This is overt deep state international warfare. And something needs to be done. Grand juries need to be compiled immediately, convened. I would say, for the military involved, this is going to be some major things. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll see Trump emerge, and then we'll be back with more to talk about. So we are free. Keep praying. Prayers are paramount. We know that God is with us here, that this needs to be exposed. The truth needs to come out, that America is fighting a globalist force that has no home, okay, no home It is outside of nation states, and it is trying to create World War III to further destroy America and Europe. And this is what's going on. So you are free. Just keep that prayer wave going, and I will see you tomorrow.